What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Move Better channel. This is John Penacerrada, and we got Dr. Joe right there. And today we have a special guest. He is a former NCAA baseball player. He's been in the fitness industry for what?
Since 2013, so about
about almost over 10 years ago.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah. And Mr. Michael Cala is in the house, y'all, straight from Canada.
Hello. I'm the Canadian.
He's the Canadian. He's the darkest Canadian we know.
That's true.
Oh, man. So we have Michael Cala here today. We wanted to bring him in and have him talk to us about his journey within the baseball, fitness, and what he's currently doing. And also just to tie it into the things that we're doing with Shift and what he's currently doing with his career. And hopefully, it brings out some inspiration for a lot of us that are, working through some of these fitness journeys ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So welcome to the
Thank you for having me, both of you guys.
Yeah,
it's been a while, and I've loved everything that you guys have been doing, the channel,
right on.
everything that you're doing in the office, and working with people, helping people. And I've known you guys for pretty much my whole career.
Long time now, yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. Because I guess to get into it, I took an internship with you 2013. I think it was spring 2013, right?
Yep.
And then as that was unfolding, there was another opportunity to continue on with not only my progression in my career, but also an opportunity to stay in the country. And that's where I ended up with Project 13 Gyms. It's through the owner's wife who was working at the gym at the time. And then we eventually hit it off where I would go visit the gym. Me and the owner had a good rapport. I enjoyed what they were doing, and that's where I'm currently at now. And so that's how I've gotten into this. I enjoyed, and the one thing that really resonated with them is the community aspect. So it's
Nice.
building that community within a community already. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but building that community, a focus of individuals who are like-minded. They're trying to train. They're trying to get better. They're trying to get back to the things that they want to do outside of the gym. And sometimes that's hard to do as an individual. I know you two have probably experienced that on your own, but you two have also played team sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you understand, okay, it's easier to attain this bigger goal when you're working with a group of people that you can kind of lean on in case you're having some bad days or you're trying to find a way to get to the next level. It's like you have that built-in accountability with someone. And so that was the one thing that I noticed that was really big at this gym, and something that I wanted to be a part of in developing more individuals. So our motto is building better humans. And so the human nature is not only just the physical nature of it, but you have the social aspects, you have the psychological aspects, and all those other things outside of just the gym that help humans become better humans down the road.
Let's take it a step back a little bit, and let's talk about the education of sports psychology, right? Like what attracted you to sports psychology, and what was it about it that you learned the most that you applied in your own life?
That's a great question. So for me in sports, that's where I got a lot of it. I didn't fully understand it my first few years in
What
college.
made you go to that route, first of all?
So in baseball, I had this great coach, Ron Callaway. He played in the majors. He was a really big influential person in my life. And he was really big on helping me get my mindset ready for just play, in terms of it's not only just your mechanics, it's your mental side. Okay, the first thing that got me into that was imaging, or is it imaging?
Mental imaging.
Mental imaging.
Mental
Yes.
imaging,
So there's this great book that I read in my early days there. It was called The Mind Gym, and it helped me develop in terms of okay, you want to imagine picturing the play happening. What are you going to do before that happens? So you're developing your anticipation, because you're developing anticipation and you're practicing that so that when the time comes, you're ready for the action to happen. And so that's what got me interested in that. And then just developing as a coach and as a trainer when I was with John at the VFC, and just having to talk to people through this is your goal, but also you got to remember how do you get that person to that goal. And it's not always just like, all right, we're just going to train legs, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's like the environment that you build around that person and how that person responds to you as you're trying to instruct them to get through to their day. And that like really was like a big thing for me.
So sports and goal setting, and seeing and putting the mind with the body in order to make to get to the goal that you need.
Yeah,
right?
it's amazing what that does, because you just don't know how that's gonna play out in your mind, but you can create. You can like kind of once you start developing it, you can be like, okay, I'm gonna anticipate this might happen, this might happen, this might happen, this might happen, and I can just play those over and over in my head until
it's training it.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's training.
It's kind of crazy. I don't want to touch upon this real fast because with sports psychology, and it's not just when people think sport, it's football, basketball. It's always
aspect,
it's a team sport. It's tennis or it's single, but the understanding of the psychology and how important the brain is with the rest of the body is it's crazy. And then with us, what we do here at Shift is I work with, and I'm not an expert at this at all, but I'm learning, and it's functional neurology, right? And with functional neurology, especially in chronic pain, we have these steps that we don't do assessments for it. It's more about seeing what works for the person, right? It's kind of like we see that there's a chronic pain syndrome, and we first try to access the brain, and it's crazy on how important negative feelings and positive feelings are to the body.
Yeah.
When a person is in pain, you start thinking about how to decrease your pain, right? And for some people, I want you to close your eyes, and you can feel your pain right now, right? But now I want you to think about the best food that you've ever eaten, right? Or I want you to think about something that's good and happy, and that makes you happy. And you give them certain imagery, like the mental imagery that you're talking about, and then all of a sudden you start poking at the area that is very hypersensitive, and you ask them, do you still feel pain? And so when we go by this step-by-step process, it's got to be something that is non-active and a way we can just access different ways for us to perceive pain in a completely different way.
Different way, yeah.
And so I think that's important, and I'm sure they might have they taught you a little bit about that in sports psychology as well, right?
Yeah,
Were you able to apply that in when you were playing, or it wasn't there yet? No, you're doing mental imagery.
I was doing mental imagery, so I was able to apply parts of that. Definitely, like the pain is with the example of pain. That one, not so much. I didn't get to apply something like that
Because you weren't really injured or anything.
No, I never really. I knocked on wood. Yeah, so I haven't had
That's
any.
metal, bro.
Oh, that's metal. Yeah, that's fair. See?
That's
Anyways.
steel.
But there is the same principle applies. Is like, okay, if I were to think of a situation where, hey, I'm in a stressful situation of, okay, there's a winning run on third or something like that, and I'm down in the count 0-2, like I can kind of anticipate, hey, what's gonna happen? Actually, I don't know if that really
No.
No,
You can. That's okay. Because I mean, mental imagery is like I want to see that guy running in, and I want to see what kind of ball is going to be thrown at you to be able to make that play happen.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's like, okay, going back to everything that I've learned, all my past experiences, like seeing this picture, it's like, okay, this person has a tendency to do this on 0-2. Okay, I'm anticipating that's going to come, and I'm either ready for it or I'm just gonna let it go because I know he hasn't been throwing it a strike the whole day. So I'll be like, okay, he's gonna throw a curveball. It's starting high. All right, I can go through and then take a good hack and hopefully take a good hack. Know that I hit a good ball. Run scores. However that happens, plays out. I did my imagery. I did everything I needed to do to get myself to be in a successful position that way.
Wow, and it's all in a matter of seconds.
It's seconds, and that's the crazy thing about a sport, right? They used to do that with us with football, and with you in baseball. It's the preparation for all of that too, right? Mm-hmm. Like you just talked about, like, all right, this guy's been throwing curveballs all day, and it starts up high and it's going to end up low. I'm going to have an idea of where that ball is going to be.
Yeah.
you could start thinking about that process and start mapping it out while you're in the dugout, while the game is going on, right?
Absolutely.
You're sitting there and you're like imaging, you're putting that mental image in your head, which, it seems that everybody just plays the sport to play the sport, right?
Yeah.
There are some haters that I've seen on like on IG or social media where they talk about like art versus playing a sport, right? And you hear people going back and forth, and but with sport, on how much it takes to be able to play that sport, whether it's the art of it, the art of playing the sport, and in that art you have to have your mental capacity to be able to know how to plan for something, and to be able to physically demand that from your body to be able to carry that out. Just like in your case, I'm just pointing out why and how crazy it is to the average person on how difficult a sport could be, because it's not just skill. There's things that you have to work with in order to prepare yourself for such a high level of play, such as the NCAA.
And like to piggyback off that, like in your realm here, and what I love about what you all do here, it's same thing too, is like you have to do the same thing for your patients, right? You have to prep. You have to be like, okay, this patient is experiencing this. I have to mentally prep my past experiences, which is the knowledge that you've gained, and then apply that in a process to where, okay, I have to map out what's going on with this person. What's the best way? What's the best route to attack the issue that they're trying to?
It's like playing detective.
Yeah.
And so there's a complete, whether it's from the patient that has to deal with the mental capacity to be able to plan for his or her future or her goals in the office, and as well as the practitioners that are involved with it, right? I still have some doctors that are standing there and they go, okay, because some patients look at them like, are you okay? Like,
Like, do you know what you're
but
doing?
there's a lot of things that you have to put into perspective. And like I said, like we were saying in the very beginning of this conversation, there are different, it's connecting the physiology, right? Connecting the nervous system with the cardiovascular system, with the biomechanics, and how everything can be affected with each other, and communicate.
Yes.
Right? And so it's big on communication.
The psychology is huge.
Yes.
Right. And so, one of the things that, as Dr. Joe was pointing out, there's so much that goes with preparation, that when we're watching, we think it's just the physical aspect.
Yeah.
But the mental game is huge. And I think that's, one of the big things that a lot of people miss. And that's probably what drew you to, why you ended up studying it. And then now I'm sure you're applying it to your career.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that was one thing that, like, I'm always that thing where I didn't get it when I was doing it. So I tried to learn and then apply it to give back to those who are in the similar position as me, where I'm like, okay, this is maybe the one way that you can think of this approach, because maybe you've never had this approach too.
Right.
And so yes, definitely it applies in the way how I developed my career in this, and like developing the individuals that we have at our gym, in terms of like, okay, you're coming in for today for a leg day. Okay, this is what the prep is. Just know that, hey, we got to get you thinking positive, or have like some sort of positive association with what we're doing today, whether that's on the practitioner or myself in terms of the coach of developing that environment as well, or as helping or having them have on the other side, the two-way street is them coming to you with the right attitude as well too, to be like, hey, I want to make these changes, and then you can build off that. And if someone doesn't have that, it's okay. You can, as the person who's facilitating the environment, it's also on you to help them gain through that psychological that barrier that they're fighting through.
Right. I mean, and you touched upon environment, and so with the psychology that's going on when it comes to training, rehab, playing the sport, and now just, man, I just want to get fit. Right. The psychology is huge, and now you're talking about environment as well. Right. So talk about like how an environment can actually help or not help the individual, no matter what they're trying to do, whether it's rehab, sport, or just trying to lose weight.
So that's a great point. The environment's always going to be the big thing that's going to influence, or I wouldn't say that's the only thing, but it's going to be one of the big things that helps influence someone's development process. I would say part of it is the tone in which the facilitator brings into it. If you have the personality set, or you have some of the set skills, like I know you talked about soft skills to me in the past as well too, to help gain that trust and adherence with everyone, that's going to take them a long way, because you can reach that person and that can help that person develop. How we do that at the gym is with that community base. Like everyone starts we do our general hip flow warm up, which everyone gets to start through. So everyone gets to learn. The more you come in, the more you're able to learn and understand that at our gym. And then having people work together towards that same common goal. And with that being said, they can kind of share the struggle. And so that environment helps people understand, like, hey, I'm not in this alone. Like, I have people here who are experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing. Yeah. And that helps a lot of people. Okay, I can do this because I've seen someone else go through the same struggle that I'm going through. Yeah. And I think you all do that really great here. When I've been here in the office and this place is popping, it's like, hey, that person's communicating with someone on the fan bike, because the fan bike's hella hard. Yeah. They're like, oh man, they put me on the fan bike today. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that thing's hard, huh? I just did it last week. And then now you have this group dynamic of people sharing the experience and understanding. Oh, okay, I like this place. I know that person has gone through the same issues as me, or we're fighting the same fight because we're trying to get back to where we want to be. Yeah. And I think that's where this place is really great, and how you all have developed that in here, and we try to do that at our place, and we do that at our place at our gym as well too. Yeah, right. On that side.
And just to piggyback, because I work out over here at Project 13, and you guys do a great job in it's group training. Yeah, for those that have never seen group training,
I never get to. Huh? I never told you about it.
Yeah, well, for those that don't know, right? So, group training, we all train together. There's one, maybe two coaches, and you guys do a great job in getting everybody involved. Half of the time, I'm actually laughing because when he's coaching, he's actually just walking around talking to everybody with their own personal topics, right? Like, this guy knows what's going on with every person in there. I'm like, how do you know everyone's name? There's like 15, 20 people at each class, and he knows what they're dealing with individually, and would go around the whole room talking about, hey, so how's this going? How's this going? So that's actually really cool that you guys do that.
That's awesome, man. It's kind of like the restaurant owner, right? The restaurant owner that walks around every single table. Right. Asks everybody how they're doing. Yeah. But it's such an important aspect to any gym, right? To any group class, workout class, and there's a lot of group classes that are very saturated and within our community nowadays, within the Bay Area. But one of the things that's a little different from Project 13 is that it's not focused on just cardio. It's not just focused on a HIIT workout. It's focused on all aspects of the training, of movement and strength training, and hits cardiovascular. It hits this and it hits that. It hits all areas, which is very unique from a lot of the group classes now. I mean, you have CrossFit now, you have Orange Theory, right? You have little boot camp classes that are all around. This separates. Like, Project 13 is separated from all of that because even though it is a group class, it's very individualized because you see the type of group that's going to be coming into the gym, right?
Yeah, and like with that community base, like everyone comes in, you get to see them over and over again and understand, like, okay, I can make this adjustment for this person because they're
you know their strengths and weaknesses, exactly. Right?
Yeah. And I think that piggybacking off your point too with the saturation, like, I think that's what's missing sometimes is that little personal touch or that personal connection you have with somebody, because again, that environment wise, a lot of us, I think, just want to be felt like, oh, hey, I'm part of this and they know me as well too. Yeah. And there's a lot of places, even in some like offices, where you're just like, you don't feel that. Yeah. And it makes it really difficult for you to be like, oh, I want to continue on here. I feel like I'm going to make progress because this person doesn't really know who I am. I don't even really know who the practitioner is either, or who this coach is. Like, I think that's where we want to we find ourselves at Project 13. Like, it's a little bit unique in that sense where I'll know, okay, this person just went for a wedding, or they just got married like a few weeks ago, or hey, they just came back from, I don't know, whatever festival, and they're just like, hey, I'm feeling a little bit down, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, because when it goes to like an individual's journey through fitness, health, rehab, and that whole spectrum, oftentimes we feel it's my own journey.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm doing it on my own, or I do it. And to be honest with you, we see a lot of people that go through it and they actually don't have success because they feel like they have to do it on their own. Unless you're like highly motivated and life just pushes you to do it, a lot of people struggle with that, right? Because they think like, oh, and also there's sometimes people don't want to reach out to coaches and therapists and whatnot, right? Yeah. So I speak on that and the fact that you guys are totally doing it in a different approach.
It's definitely hard to ask for help. Like, I know I've had my struggles with that too, and like reaching out to people about asking for help. I've gotten a little bit better about that now, which is great, and I've been working on it. But it does take a little bit of that. There is that little incentive of oneself to like, I can do this on my own. I know I can do this. And then sometimes the realization is like, oh, I really don't know how to do that. So I have no other choice but to go reach out for help. So that happens sometimes.
You call that ego in psychology?
I think so, yes. Yes, the ego can definitely.
The ego is for psychology. We talk about that, right?
We always talk about that.
Yeah.
Of knowing that, oh, I can do this on my own. I can get this done. Whereas it's sometimes, I know you've had just a talk recently with somebody, and it's just like understanding and realizing, okay, when am I having that? When do I not? When do I know that I can't do this by myself? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And reaching out for that person to help, asking a coach, reaching out to an old colleague or something like that. We try to provide that for people, like especially on their first day, when they're like, I kind of just found you guys on Google. I'm looking for a gym, kind of thing like that. Have you ever? I'll ask them like, okay, so what's your experience like with working out and things like that? And they're like, oh, it's very minimal. I'm like, no worries, I'll take care of you. I'll work with you. I'll make sure to be upfront. Tell them, hey, sometimes it might move a little bit quick. Just follow me, and I'm open to ask questions. But I'll come around and I'll make sure to help you out as you're going through this process. Yeah. And going back to how important it is for that person to set the environment, I think that sets the tone to give that person, maybe at least if I can break down a little bit of that barrier of discomfort, because as you come into something new, hey, you're going to be uncomfortable. If I can break down that barrier a little bit of the discomfort, we can work together because I can draw you into what we need to do so that you can achieve that.
Yeah, and there's so much parallel with Project 13 and Shift, because the same thing happens, right?
Yeah.
I'm either going to hesitate to go and get taken care of by Dr. Joe, because let's say I've never done it before.
Yeah. I
have, this fear of like, damn. And a lot of it is like understanding, like accepting the fact that, damn, there's something going on, and I'm afraid of finding that out. And then at the same time is I'm going to, oh man, I need to go, get in better health and fitness because I finally found out that my health is bad.
Yeah.
So do I go get a coach or go to Project 13? There's a lot of that, I don't say fear aspect.
There's a lot of fear. Were you gonna say
No. I was just gonna say that there's a fear aspect, there's an ego, but there's also, for me personally, it was hard for me to learn to ask for help from just my old past, right? From growing up and saying, with my personal family saying that it was almost that I shouldn't have asked for help, right? Like it was almost
do it on your own.
I was made fun of for being asked.
For
asking for help, right? And it's like, do things on your own. You can do it. And I still kind of have that problem that I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to do it all on my own. I'm going to do it on my own. So there's an ego aspect, but there's also a way to see that you want to get it done your way.
Your way, yep.
And that was another hard thing for me to like let go of, because
Yep.
when you're building, you know, when we built Shift, Shift was all about that community aspect, right?
Yeah.
It was all about asking for help and relying on each other, which is, you know, when I started it and I was talking to John's brother Mark about it, he was kind of asking me a lot of questions about it, right? And the more questions he asked about it, the more I realized how much they're actually helping to grow this place, right? And it wasn't, and I tell my staff all the time, like this place was never built upon one person, right? It maybe have started with an idea, but even that idea was spread from multiple people. And it's, I think it's I'm guessing it's vulnerability that I needed to accept that would allow this place to grow even bigger without the ego, right? And it was huge, right? And because of that, because I constantly tell my staff that they need to be open to being asked for, to asking for help, to knowing what it is that they want. The more that we understand each other within our inside community, the more that the outside community will start to
Take notice,
take notice
Yep.
and feed on it. Like, and you were there during the time that I was kind of like developing this whole process. You know, we came up with the mission statement. You know, moving healthy communities inside out, right? And when we say moving healthy communities, the community and inside out, meaning the community from within, right?
Yep.
Because when we all started working together at the VFC, and we all started, you know, John and Mark and everybody created this community, we all became a part of it because we all started hanging out together. We would work hard, we would play hard, and then all of a sudden we all became such a close-knit family. And that's something that I wanted back again, right? Everywhere that I personally worked, it was always like that, right? We always had a community from within. When I first started working at 24 Hour Fitness, everybody started hanging out together. We would go to Mission Rock and we would go to the clubs and we would all see each other at nighttime at these clubs. And then same thing with Bali. Everybody hung out with each other and everybody was like really close. And then there came Club One and the VFC and so on and so forth. And that's something that I've always wanted to build here. And once we built that here, and then similar to what Project 13 is doing, once you guys built that within each other, the community, you can feed out to the community. You can let them know this is what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could probably attest to the fact that builds a lot of success for all your members, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because it builds in that there's a built-in accountability. There's like built-in consistency. Everyone wants to go there because it's an escape from work, or they want, like again, they all want to hit their same goal. Some people want to do a Spartan race, so there's groups together to do that. There's groups together to do social, because at least here in the Bay Area, it's like, at least the area that we're in, it's a very area where there's a lot of transient people going in and out. Everyone comes in for about a year, leaves. Comes in for 6 months, they're on a contract, they leave.
Right.
So having that community built already pretty solid, to have that where you can always have people come in and they're like, you know, man, like, this is like really exciting. I'm gonna stay here. I know I'm only here for 6 months, but like, I really enjoyed what you guys have to do. Like, are you guys ever planning to go move to this in this city? We're like, sorry, we just opened up our second one in Denver, but that's all we have right now. And they're like, oh, well, anytime I come back, I'm coming back to y'all. And like, you get to build that rapport with people, but you also get to build that connection with them to be like, hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be part of your community for long periods of time.
Right.
But I was going to ask you guys, like, how did it feel asking for help after all that, when you guys eventually...
Oh, we're asking you questions.
Asking me.
Actually, it's funny, you guys, we were in that topic. For the longest time, I didn't want to, because I've been in the industry for quite some time, I actually didn't want to take anyone's classes. I didn't want anyone else to tell me how to work out. That's huge for me.
That's hard.
That's hard. You know what I mean? And because I knew you, and I was like, fuck it, I'll go take workouts at Mike's class. It made it easier for me to like open up to like, no, I got to be open to this stuff, right? And again, it's part of it is psychology, ego, and I could relate this to even rehab, right? Some of us are like, man, who was it? I was just recently talking to somebody. Oh, I have a cousin. Had to get arthroscopic surgery in his knee. Former bodybuilder. He's like, I'm just doing my own rehab. Until today, he limps. It's been like how many years already?
You can't get it
and I
fixed,
see him, I'm like, dude, I told you, go get help, man. He goes, no. I was like, nope, go get help. And so to the point, to my point, it's a tough thing to really get into that switch where like, okay, let me go get help, right? Yeah. Or in my perspective, from my experience, I didn't want to go work out with somebody else's workout. I always follow my own, right? But going to Project 13 allowed me to like, all right, let me open this. All right, let me do it, right? And so that's been a great experience actually, because honestly, I don't have to think. I'm like, cool, I can just disconnect. I'm gonna just follow whatever y'all doing. And it's been great. It's been great. It's actually gotten my strength back up. I've gone through my own weight loss journey, and within that weight loss, I lost a lot of strength. And then, just recently, we're doing slightly heavier weights at the program right now, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting back up there.
Bench is coming back.
I'm coming back. Yeah. So it's been good. It's been good.
Appreciate it. And I think that's like a hard thing. Unless it's hard to lead if you haven't been able to follow like correctly. I think it was a little bit that I've learned through this process.
Nice. I like that.
Without the help of you two, like you've also been very influential with me. Especially even really only had a short time together when you were at the other company.
Yeah. That other company.
The other company. The company that shall not be named.
Yeah.
But y'all were very influential. I won't be able to lead without learning from you guys. Oh, like it goes hand in hand, and like having good people around you to do that, makes it easier though. It makes it easier. But again, it also comes upon myself to ask for help. Yeah. And it's also on like the people who I'm asking for help, for them to understand what am I trying to get out of this help? What am I trying to get out of it, and how are you able to fit yourself into that situation?
Yeah, and I think that's one of a big quality that a leader needs to understand, is that if you feel like you're in that leadership role, you need to understand that a leader is not a person that is a constant director. A leader is a person that's never the person it's their say or the highway, right? It's one of the biggest things that I've learned is that every single person, regardless of what position that they're in, can learn from each other, right? And I say that to my staff all the time. I don't care where you're at in this office. You have the ability to communicate how you're feeling to any single person that's in this office, including me, right? And I know a lot of people have that fear of telling me something just because I'm the owner of this place, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not listening. Yes. Right. I'm always down to listen to whoever that I'm doing something wrong to, or wrong in my process of working this office. I'm always telling everybody, there's always a learning process. There's always something to learn more from, versus us saying, no, I've learned it all. Because once you hit that point, you need to take a big step back and start looking at yourself, right? And realizing that you're the one that's in the wrong. So all the leaders out there understand you got to learn from every single person. Yeah. Sometimes there may be an intern that comes in, right?
Yeah. Learn from that intern too.
And you can learn whether it's a skill set or a personality that you've got to learn to work with, right? There's always a personality that you've got to be able to fit in with and be able to work with. And every single person has a skill set that you can learn.
Absolutely. And I think that to those coming into, like, either whether you're coming into my gym or you're coming into shift, like as a client or as a patient, it's understanding like, hey, that person's just trying to help you out. Yeah. You're coming in for help. I know people say, oh, be open. It's like, understand that when I come in here, I know that these people are here to take care of me. They're here to guide me along so I can get to where I need to go. Yeah. I think that's another thing.
So, a few takeaways. Go get help. Have a good environment and a community.
Yes. And community. Community goes a long way.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Be very learn to be vulnerable. The vulnerability will allow you to be stronger.
Agreed.
And will allow you to lead or be led in the proper way.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, what does Project 13 mean?
So Project 13 gyms. So as I mentioned earlier, a little bit about building better humans. So that's one of our mottos. So the way the name came about is through the 12 labors of Hercules. So he has his 12 labors that he was set out to do. From like catching a boar to like slaying a monster. I can't remember the monster's name off the top of my head, but those 12 labors were what he was set out to do. But I believe in this, but I didn't set this. I didn't get to name it. But the 13th labor that was missed was building better humans. With that being said, it's never really something that you can set in stone, so it's always a project. So therefore, Project 13. So it's the 13th labor.
Oh, that's
it's
really
to
cool.
continue
like
working on that.
Cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys gotta put that out more.
We do.
Okay. Well, I didn't see it.
There. We're working on it.
Yeah, I go in there
awesome.
too, so you could work on me.
I like that. How
cool.
it all works out.
So how can the audience learn more about Project 13 or about you?
Well, my Instagram is, well, I don't know. Let me start with Project 13 gyms. We're located on 1440 Bush Street, so on the corner of Polk and Bush.
San
We're
Francisco.
downtown San Francisco. So we do group classes there. Again, those group classes are set in Monday through Saturday, so you can catch us 6 days a week, morning and afternoon, except Saturday is only one day. But we have group classes in there focusing, like he was saying, strength training. We do a little bit of HIIT. We do some cardio work as well, too. And you can find that the Instagram for them is at Project 13 Gyms SF. And then we also have a gym out in Denver. So if you're watching in Denver, Project 13 Gyms Denver is our second location out there. They're off of 1135 Broadway in Denver, Colorado. So if you're anywhere in that area, you want to try out some classes, Thomas is out there. He'll work with you. And then my personal Instagram is at Kemifan, Kemifan. I don't post a whole lot of workout content in there. My content's going to Project 13
fashion.
Gyms.
It's all good.
My thing's a little bit more on the fashion side, on my personal side, but not so much
Hey.
here. But yeah, and again, like last little sentiments here. I've always appreciated working with y'all. I know we do some work. We do work.
Man, likewise.
Continue
Yeah,
our
likewise,
partnership
man.
work at the gym, but not only that, our friendship is always something
Yeah,
I've cherished.
of course,
And
man.
Absolutely.
I've always appreciated having
Group
with
hug.
y'all. Yeah. So I've really enjoyed working with these guys, and I just
And it's going to
love having
continue.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
absolutely.
Yes, sir. All right. We want to say thank you to Michael Cala again for being our guest today. Please go check out Project 13 out in San Francisco or in Denver. Great place to go work out, get your fit on. You know what I mean? So again, like, subscribe, share our content to others, and we'll see you in the next episode.